And it must be 38 since we're way past 33. Right. Okay. So let's do this line by line. Okay. So we're going to put in right. So we say, what does num list look like? Num list looks like this: 5, 15, 84, 3, 14, 2, 8, 10, 14, 25. Let's use the count method and note what you have to do. You have to name the list and then dot, and then you use count, and it's looking for an item value. So we're going to put in 14. And it says 2. Well, what does that mean? It means, well, there's 2 occurrences of an item that have the value of 14. Okay, so again, what can you do with this? Well, one obvious use is to identify duplicates. So that's what count does. Let's look at reverse, but let's remind ourselves what the original one looks like. It looks like this: 5, 15, 84. So if we say num list, and this is how you have to call that method, reverse, no argument. You don't see anything pop up, but what has happened is it has actually applied the reverse method to the list and permanently changed it, right? So num list is now, it's the same variable because it's mutable, but the order of the values have been reversed in num list, and it's permanently changed. Okay. Let's try sort. Right. So again, that's what num list looks like now. If we say num list sort, and you say, what does it look like? It has been permanently rearranged and sorted from low to high. Okay. So again, when you look at the methods at first, they say, that's easy. I understand that. But again, some of them permanently change the object itself rather than just return a value, but not without changing the object. Okay. So you got to bear that in mind. Okay. Well, here's what I would call a parlor trick, I guess. We look at the next slide. Be 39. We're looking more closely. So we run this, and here's food list, and let's print it too. Okay. And then we run sort on it. Note that the items in food list are all strings, but we complicate it. We have this uppercase pair. Okay. And when we first apply the sort method to it, pair is going to pop up as number 1, as the first item, when you would probably think intuitively it should be after orange because P comes after O. But again, Python is case sensitive, and the ORed value of uppercase letters precede the ORed values of lowercase letters. So that's going to come up first. But we can illustrate what that last sort with the key value was. If we apply this key string lower to it, that will tell it to sort it with all of the letters, not just the first ones, all of the letters as lowercase. So it will sort it as if pair has a lowercase p, even though it doesn't. Okay, so, and that's achieved by this key equals string dot lower. Lower, you'll remember, is a method that you can apply to strings. Okay, so let's run that. Right, so here's the original value. Here is the original sort where we get the uppercase P popping up first. And then when we use the key value of lower, we puts it in the correct place. Okay. So, and again, if we look at food list in its final state, it permanently gets changed with each one of these sort functions. Okay, so that was the last one we executed, put it in this order. Okay, so it's permanent. You have to remember that. Okay. Here's some more functions. And these are more intuitive. Min simply returns the minimum value in a list. Max returns the maximum value in a list. Sum, what does sum do? Sum will add them all up. Here, let's run this. But you can set an additional value to be added to the sum of all the items in the list using the start argument. Okay, so this looks something like this. And let's do this. Let's do each one. Okay, so I'll copy this so we can see what's going on. Right, so there's num list. We say you don't have to assign it to anything, just apply. Notice you don't, these are functions. These are built-in functions. These are not methods. Okay. And again, what's the difference? They both do something, but methods, the way you invoke them is by naming the object with a period and then the method. Okay. A function, you don't. Function, you just say the name of the function, and then as an argument, you pass it the object. Okay. So you got to get used to that. So 2 is the minimum number in num list. 84 is the maximum, the highest value item in num list. If we apply sum, it returns a single number, has a similar function in R. It just simply adds up the values of each of the elements or items in the list. But you can also invoke with sum, you can invoke a second optional argument, which is start, the start value. Okay, and if we take a look, we'll take a look at it in just a second. Start, we'll say start is 50. Notice it's giving us this little help pop-up box, so we know what we can do and what we can't do. That simply added up all of the elements, but then added the integer 50 to them. Okay, and help, call up help for sum. It's pretty simple. Just it's iterable, which means it's adding up all of the elements. And it's got this optional start value that has a default value of 0. Okay. So this function is intended specifically for use with numeric values and may reject non-numeric types. Let's give that a try. Say num list, and then we'll say, if I can remember how to do this, num list append Bob. Oops. Bob. And we say, show me num list. There's Bob at the end. And then we try to apply sum to it. Sure enough, type error, unsupported operand type for trying to add together an integer and a string, and you can't do that. Okay. Now, here's some other things. Choice and shuffle. Choice picks, these are both in the random module. So you've got to import random to use them. Choice just simply returns a randomly selected item from the list, which it's sort of like a random number generator, randomly generates one of the indexes and returns the value associated with that index, but it's not completely random. There's a seed that determines the first one that it will look at. Shuffle, on the other hand, is pretty straightforward. Shuffle simply rearranges or permutes the values that are in the list.